I just like right before we usually get on, I'll just say a word. It's like
Mm-hmm.
my first word of the day, and I was like, hello. I was like, just total frog and throat. I can still feel it. Man, woo! Earliest recording yet.
It's so early. No, I mean not really, but it's
Nobody's
incredible
ever done
breakthrough.
something at 9 in the morning.
Certainly not hobbies that don't.
Hobbies are not for 9 a.m. Yeah,
No, well, certainly no one does indoor hobbies at 9 a.m.
that's true.
Like if you're waking up early, it's always any hobby associated with doing something early is usually like exercise based, like going outside or something like that. So we're still being indoor kids, but doing it nice on the bright on a Saturday morning. I don't know what that says about us at
Yeah.
all.
And gaming doesn't count either, because if you happen to wake up and play games at 9 a.m., you weren't scheduling it. You weren't like, I got to get up at 9 a.m. I got to
Correct.
shower. I get up at 8 so I can grab a shower, get some coffee so I can make sure I'm gaming at 9.
Like is there prep work like for being the if there was 10 levels of gamer, if there was 10 levels
Mm-hmm.
of gamer, one I know what a game is, but I very never really play, but I enjoy it. And 10 being like that is your literal profession. What level gamer are you? If you had to put a 1 through 10 on it.
Ooh, I'll say 7.
Okay.
I'd love for it to be a
Okay.
I mean, I've Twitch streamed before.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It does buy you credits.
I've also played enough to where I think I'm probably better than a lot of people on average at
Okay.
many games. Like if I had to pick up a brand new game, and play against somebody else, it's their brand new game too. I feel like I'd have a good chance just because of that like gamer
Intuition.
knowledge, like just how games work.
Yeah.
But I can't hack it against kids now. I want to get on there to play some Apex, some shooters, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting smoked.
Yeah.
Like,
Shooters are the worst, man, because I actually enjoy shooters, but I mean, you're just within the opening weekend. I'm already just can't
yeah,
can't even compete with what they've already figured out about the game and like what guns to use and what attachments. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, it used to be a lot more fun, but every time I get a new Call of Duty, I give up faster and faster on it.
yeah, Call of Duty especially with like where you can basically buy guns or put money into it and get stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I don't have,
they,
I can't do that.
yeah, they and I'm not gonna do it either. And they've turned it into just a just such a gold mine.
But we do have fun. Like I have a couple guys I play with Apex, 3-man squad. So whenever we win, we're excited because we're at a combined age of almost 120.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I like to just think that there's like a few teenagers out there that we just beat the shit out of.
Yeah. Or like, yeah,
It's really,
14-year-old French kids that try trash talking you and you're like, ha, I don't understand your hateful words
uh,
because they're not English.
yeah, dude.
That
Well,
happens.
what's your level?
I would put myself at a solid oof. I'd say I'm a I'm gonna give myself a 5. I'm gonna allow myself to go
Give
to
yourself
that
a
5. Because I was going between 4 and 5, and I really do like gaming. It's just the older I've gotten, the more I've gotten like particular with what games entertain me, and I even I'm surprised sometimes. So like played like the Lego games, Lego Marvel and Lego Star Wars. Those are great for like just like okay, I just kind of go through basically like kind of like 3D side scrolling of just like all right, you're just kind of smashing stuff, beating up bad guys, not really having to put a lot of effort. So like that's kind of nice to like take my mind off stuff. I do like Call of Duty, and up until a couple ago, I was pretty good at them. Nothing super crazy, but I could, fare well on average. For those gamers out there, I could have a KDR for like an entire afternoon.
KDR.
I could have a KDR of like a 2.
Hmm,
Um, so like
that's
yeah,
good.
I could have a solid day. I still play wrestling games, and I ducked out of Madden about 15 years ago, but the early 2000s Madden was everything under the sun. But yeah, I mean Mario games like Mario Party, I would still play Mario Party if people are like, yo, you want to get together and play some Mario Party? The answer is always yes. You could call me in the middle of the night on Christmas morning and be like, Jeff, I don't have any time to explain it, but I need you to get online and play Mario Party. I'd be like, I'm in,
At
give me
9
5
a.m.
minutes. Maybe not 9 a.m. Maybe it's more of a 9:30 thing for future reference, but
it's too early.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen.
Gaming. I did the gaming.
My daddy worked hard for this.
So I do see that 9 a.m. is breakfast time in the Worden household.
what's that?
So I do see that 9 a.m. is breakfast time in the Worden
Well,
household.
It's Saturday, so I slept in a little bit. I allowed myself to sleep in. So then I got up, showered, and made myself a little egg sandwich.
Oh, dude, give us that egg Sammy
Mhm.
ASMR.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for you.
Oh yeah. I have a buddy. He knows who he is when we're gaming. Just the only thing he can snack on is the crunchiest things that ever existed. within the time.
Yeah.
It's like chips, pretzels all the time.
That's the discourtesy. That's what
Yeah.
that's what brings friends together.
Yeah.
Hey man, can you turn up your mic a little bit? I can't hear it.
Yeah. What are those? Sun chips? New headphones too. You are quick.
Yeah.
You are quick. You are very responsive to the needs of this podcast.
Yeah. So I got tired of bringing my headset up and downstairs when I wanted to use them. So, little clickety click, and they showed up on my doorstep this morning.
I am rocking, speaking of my buddy, the new Color Machine official graphic tee.
Wow.
Screen printed, out of Kentucky. Very much looks like the flow.
It
Go with the
does.
flow.
It does.
Kayak ship.
So interesting. It's all everything's coming together. And what is that? Like a heather red?
Yeah.
Or a feathered red, whatever it's called.
It's the Indiana sun. I think that was the inspiration. Some kind of summer lake in Indiana.
Okay.
Something about lakes and water sports and a sun that looks like this. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of a sun that looks like this, how about that? Did you caught some of the smoke this week, huh?
Oh, did we catch some of the smoke? And folks, that is not
those that didn't enjoy it.
Folks, that is not a turn of phrase. There was literally smoke all across the Northeast, as many of our listeners would probably know.
Yeah, if you weren't, I mean, I had friends that didn't know. I mean, probably weren't. I wouldn't have known unless it happened to me. I don't follow the regional weather patterns.
Right.
Everywhere. But dude, yeah, what was it? Tuesday, I walked out of a session. So I had a big Wegmans retreat for managers in Rochester. You know, kind of took a van and all that. Well, let me digress. Let me digress in this quickly about seminars and retreats. So it's like in their big conference room at corporate.
Yeah.
And one of my hate it when somebody's presenting or just any kind of meeting where somebody tries to artificially get the people going.
Sure.
So we're doing like something like it's whatever, some kind of new customer service thing that we're going to have training module that's going to be going down. And the presenter says something like, yeah, we'll be able to do this. We're going to be able to do this, right, guys? And everybody's like, right, guys, we can do it.
Oh,
and
no.
Everybody's like, yeah, okay, yes. Well, how do we make this stop? And it's like, if you can't get people excited based on your presentation, you're not presenting well. I feel like
right,
really
that's not on them.
This.
That's on
you. Can't
you.
Artificially make people. I mean, you do. Like, but how can you be happy with that, right, guys? Or anybody at a meeting, like, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna get them, right? Yeah. What? I can't hear you. Like one of those kind of things. I'm like, that is bad presenting. It's got to be show, don't tell. If people aren't excited by what you're saying, do better. Anyways.
So, you know what though? That's I'll digress off your digression. Is that
fantastic?
Right, because that's what this podcast is all about.
Yeah.
Tangents off tangents off tangents. Yeah. Oh, that's the end of the show.
Yeah.
No, I understand that completely. And it starts from the beginning. You've already lost me when you go, good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Oh, it starts with
I
good
said
morning.
good
Yes.
morning. I'm
Oh,
like, congrats.
no.
Congrats. You've already lost me. I hate you. I'm, like you said, we're here. Even if you can turn off people even that want to be at something like that, even if it's not work-based, like, I don't need to give an audio clue, like indication of whether or not I want, like, how excited I am or how intrigued I am by something. First of all, let's stop using words excitement when we're coming to like presentations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's this weird, I almost think that it's so common that people think it's literally the right thing to do. Like, no matter how good the response is, people will do it. Like, think about it. It's concerts. It's like sometimes comedians do it. And it's just like, just stop. So we've now determined that whatever you're about to do is probably gonna suck, because this seems like this was planned by you, or you are just a grubby whore for getting people to clap for you when you haven't done shit yet, because it's the beginning, and you certainly are aware, you're self-aware that you don't deserve these claps because you had to literally incite them and then beg for a follow-up one to be better. You literally told us to do it better again. Like,
Dude, new T-shirt. I'm a grubby whore.
I'm a grubby whore for applause.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Even the whole seminar started with like whatever the New York State regional director being like, "Hey, are we excited to be here?" It's like, no, I have to be here.
I'm paid to be here, sir.
Yeah, no, I don't. Am I excited? Am I excited about a work meeting
Right.
that I have
Like,
to travel
stop.
for? No, why would I be excited about that?
That's like people who say you have to love your job. That's not true. The job has to pay me money.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And then there's people, so it's all managers. Like I'm the lowest level of manager there.
That's the
And
spirit. That's the confidence I miss.
But I mean, then my, in the
I know,
brackets and all
but
that,
it still sounds awesome to hear someone say it.
Yeah, I'm just the worst. I'm the
I am the
grubbiest whore. I'm the grubby whores there. So I'm just kind of watching it. I'm participating, but then we do these group activities. I'm with people that have been there for like 30 years or whatever. And I'm like, you're just all grown up children. It's amazing how like going to something like that really evens the playing field in your mind. Cause I don't know, I've been around long enough to not know that the title of somebody makes them who they are.
Yes, that's correct.
But it's really like you're in charge of hundreds of people and you can barely form a sentence, or you can't get through this little workshop that we're doing, or this example, or like you're dominating the conversation. You're not like it's like, aren't we all supposed to have basic skills about how to work as a team? And there's people that are like brown nosers, that are people that are there all for the clout. It's like, wow, this is just high school, but grown up.
It is.
It's amazing.
There's always going to be someone in a higher position who's more useless than you. I'm not even kidding. Like that's a discussion I recently had at work with like an old boss. Is like, there's always going to be someone who absolutely doesn't deserve to be in a higher position than you, makes a lot more money than you, and you will meet them and wonder how in the world they got where they were.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be like just assholey about it, because there was cool people that I met, and definitely people that deserve their positions, and very experienced,
100%.
thoughtful people. There are some people like, how do you even? Why are you here? And
Nepotism.
And you know what? I someday hope to be a person like that. That someone's like, why are you here? Why are you getting paid for this?
Dude, I can only imagine if I found someone like. Listen, I work in the corporate structure, so the sky's the limit if you want to aspire for it. Of like, I think like if I go up 10 bosses, I'm probably at the CEO. But that's how large the hierarchy is. But man, someday I'm going to just say the right hilarious thing and have like the right interaction with someone who's really high up, and they're just going to take me under their wing and like hold on to me like a superhero and skyrocket me up to a really high paying job where I have no idea what I'm doing and I won't care and no one will be able to say anything. It's going to be great.
Yeah, you got to like be risky, and it's got to come at the cost of like, Jane or something like that, where like secretly like, because it's hard to like, when you're first getting to know your bosses, to like really take jabs at people or just be honest about how you feel. But then once you do, it's like, I don't know, that Jane is kind of I don't know, she's kind of a loser, right?
Well, that's kind
and
of
it's like, yeah, I think, you know what? I'm glad you said that. I agree. Don't tell anybody, but Hey, why don't you come to lunch?
It's comedy. I dabble. I dribble my comedy and see how much further and further of jacked up humor people get. Also referential things, because man, if you get a higher up that appreciates the same type of humor that you do, that's always solid. But we always got easy stuff like sports, and sports is the easiest bonding amongst people who you have no right talking to. So,
How did you? What was your experience with the Smoke Show 2023?
okay, yeah, smoke. We started getting it down here in South Jersey, Greater Philadelphia area because of how the currents go. We actually started getting it not this past Thursday, but actually like the Thursday prior. So like the 1st of June, Philadelphia started sending out warnings about air quality. So
you got warnings. Cool.
yeah, well, warnings meaning, hey, it's here, not in advance.
Okay.
Like we got alerts, rather, I should say. So yeah, it came down last weekend, like 1st, 2nd of June. There was issues and you could smell it a little, and then it kind of wafted away and then swung back down kind of when Central New York started really getting hammered, like in the middle of this week, like what around the 6th, 7th of June. We started getting it again, and then we had it kind of perk back up around the 7th or 8th. And then now the last couple of days, I'm pretty confident our AQI might be in the green.
I think ours is now. Also great. I learned what AQI is.
Absolutely. I think majority of America finally
the air
learned
quality index or whatever.
The air quality index. Oh, nope, I lied. We're still in moderate. We are rocking a 60 in
that's fine.
In Summerdale, New Jersey,
fine.
And Auburn's at 80. So you guys are still at less cloudy air.
I'm going out on a boat today.
Yep.
I'm going out on a boat today.
Well, at least you're not going out in a hot air balloon, because that would be worse, wouldn't it?
Oh, probably. Sounds terrifying to me, honestly.
Yeah, there's.
Is that a thing, though? What do you mean? Just in general?
What?
Hot air, being in a hot air balloon?
Well, if smoke's bad, smoke rises, hot air balloon rises into the more bad. Duh.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite
science.
CCR songs. Hot balloon air rises.
Yeah, that's where I plug in a sad trombone sound or something.
I was going to look for it, and then I thought, I kind of want this to be an example to the people that are doing seminars and sessions.
There you go.
I don't have to say, I don't have to repeat the joke. I don't have to ask for more. Yeah. I just have to allow that pause. Let it be there.
If it flops, now you've learned a lesson, either to stop joking because you're just not funny, or be better at funny.
Well, because I won't stop, that's for sure.
That's fine. No, I knew that wasn't the answer. But for you, I'm saying do better. You're capable of better humor and puns. Do better.
But that's what you got to, just let there be the space, people. If you're doing a presentation and it's not good, it's over.
Yeah.
We had an AQI of 270 or 80 on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when I left the seminar thing at Rochester, I walked out and I was like, why does it smell like fire outside? It was like, oh, there's wildfires in Canada. And I was like, no, that's not what I said. So why does it smell like smoke outside, like here where we are?
But I'm in a different country than you're talking about.
You don't understand thanks for the info. It is related. I can appreciate it. Yeah, and I found that out. And of course, my day off was Wednesday. I was like, plan this kayak fishing day because it's gonna be like 68 degrees, like sunny. I was like, this is it. We're gonna take it down. And woke up that morning in The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just total orange.
Sky's looking pretty orange today. That's not normal.
It really looked like some kind of apocalyptic scene where it was like you couldn't see that far. Everybody's probably seen the images at this point. If not, just search it. But I was like, this is fake. This is like fake life, like a dream, because nothing was moving outside. Nothing was stirring, just orange. The weather said it was sunny because there weren't clouds in the sky, but it was just smoke. Just
the weather, by definition, was sunny, but there was no sun to be found.
Yeah. But then they just kept counting. So I actually went out to do an errand, and
Mm-hmm.
just being outside for a little bit, I came back inside and I had like a little bit of a cough. I was like, all right, I'll probably not. And I was looking at, well, what does it mean? And I was still rationalizing. I
Yeah,
was like,
you're
well, what
selling
if I go
yourself
out for
on
like
it.
2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, and then I was like, well, at this point, whereas like, so what'd you say? We're now at like 40 to 60, 50 to 60 somewhere.
You're at
80. Probably most places on a given day are under 50 for that AQI. Once you get to 100, it's like, all right, need to start being careful if you got sensitive.
I did check. I did check Auburn on Wednesday. Wednesday at 4:30, I checked it. You guys were at about 400.
Oh, we got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you were
I
in the
stopped
400s.
watching after like 250.
Yeah.
All right,
Nope. It kept crawling.
Yeah. So it would have been. That would have been like the thing where it's like, this will probably be long term, forever damage to your lungs and heart. And I was like, yeah, but fishing.
Yeah, but have you seen
fish?
I haven't peed in a bottle in days.
I really have to go to the bathroom.
And it's just not the same on my couch.
Yeah. But that was it was cool.
That's a fun little. That was a fun little summer 2023 story that we'll all remember. It's kind of like like a baby COVID. It was like put on your mask.
That's what I was thinking.
Put on your mask, stay inside, and you're like, hey, I remember this.
This hasn't happened in forever. It was like a little, it was kind of like a Harambe. Like you won't remember it in 7 years unless somebody reminds you that it happened. Harambe the gorilla.
No, I was just saying, how dare you act like I'm ever gonna forget and not.
Oh yeah, you won't.
And not cite Harambe.
Yeah. I mean,
D's out for Harambe, folks. Dick's out for Harambe.
Yeah. But it's like one of those things. Be like, oh yeah, Harambe, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that day or two, and you couldn't really go outside, which felt like the worst on Wednesday. I had to stay inside and play video games. It was terrible.
Oh my God. What a change of life, right? You're like, I don't know what happened.
I had to. It doesn't feel the same. I like
when
you're forced to do it when I should be doing something else. It's more pleasurable than it's the only thing I have to do.
I like this as a deterrent to life, not out of necessity.
Yeah. It's the only thing I can do. Get inside and play your video games.
Oh man.
Did you bring? I thought about the idea last week of doing a Would You Rather. I brought one.
Yeah, see, I totally forgot, so I didn't.
You're wearing a shirt that says "Never Forget."
That is ironic, folks. I'm wearing the graphic tee today. Never forget.
Never forget physical media.
Yes, a VHS tape, a cassette tape, and a floppy disk.
I remember a friend we had in school named George who had a floppy disk collection. So we're talking about the 1.44 megabyte. I don't know why, because originally floppy disks were actually the big ones that were actually floppy.
The three, not the 3.5 inch, but the OG
like you
ones
put
that
your
literally
map blasters on it or something like that.
Yeah, like I want to say like maybe like the Apple II computer took.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then then we have the floppy disks, as we know, the small little cartridges. But I know he had a bunch of like penthouse pictures across like 10 different floppy disks.
Of course he did.
He'd go around to school and try to get you I think he tried to befriend people by being like, hey, I've got some stuff that's like illegal. And I was like, yeah, I want to see it. What do you mean? Hell yeah. And then by illegal, it means just naked women. Totally legal naked women. That maybe it was the 90s, so they had like pubic hair. So it was probably like it was a lot for like teenagers to digest. I mean, I remember being over my friend Matt's house when I was like 12, and he had the Playboy channel on DirecTV. We watched it for a little bit, and I saw Jenny McCarthy do a cartwheel full bush, and I was like, why does she have hair on like under her belly button? I was like, that's weird.
Lord.
Like, this is new for me.
This is so weird.
I was like, this is new. I was like, that's gross. Because I don't even have hair on my belly button.
All right. Where, man, ultimate digression.
But never forget. I told you I didn't forget floppy disks.
And that's Matt's take on. That's what you get out of floppy disks. That's exactly what you.
Well, what else do you use them for? I don't remember.
Video games, Prince of Persia.
True, like actual like downloading games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think other games, because if you bought PC games back in the day that were on floppy before CD-ROMs,
floppy
disks. You had to install. And if you lost one, SOL, like, oh, I can play this game as much as I want up to disc 3, but then I lost disc 4, and there's 12 discs, so I just have to stop at the first quarter of the game. because it'll tell you like, all right, now you got to put a next disc, and you're like, the heck I do. I lost that.
Do you remember for VHS? I think in high school I might have had like 2 VCRs, or I connected one or something like that. So I assembled a montage of my favorite action / fight scenes from movies. I went VHS to VHS and recorded it.
Did you really?
Yes. I might have just watched it in the privacy of my own
How
self,
did
'cause
I
it was
not
like,
know about this?
I don't know. I don't think I was proud of it because I had a lot of Steven Seagal on there. like
What?
had way too much Steven Seagal,
No!
probably.
I guarantee you didn't have enough Steven Seagal.
A lot of Glimmer Man.
Oh my god!
Like one of my favorites. Like
Glimmer Man's not even one of the good ones.
it's so terrible. I'm just saying that's kind of the level it went to, where he'd be like, I love my Glimmer Man where Steven Seagal. So you know, there's guys like mobsters or whatever, or whoever he's fighting against, generic, whatever, circling him. He's like, give me your wallet. He's like, okay, cash, or do you take plastic? So he takes out a credit card, flips it. It's got a razor blade on it, cuts all their throats. it's like
That's it's in like a parking garage or something. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like all he's just doing like jazz hands fighting, but barely moves his feet ever.
Yeah.
So good. Just the confidence in the ponytail. Such a beauty.
Folks, if you do not know the glory of Steven Seagal, like we're not talking about the weird guy that eventually got a show as being like a deputy cop and stuff. Watch his action movies. They're so odd. Like Under Siege 1 and 2, both beautiful. Above the Law, Out for Justice. These movies are awesome and terrible. Like it's terrible line after terrible line. The plots make zero sense, but they are so fun to watch, and the fight scenes are so wonky because all these guys, these thugs, are so aggressive with their motions, and Steven Seagal is so slow and fluid, but it's so silly looking.
It's my favorite genre of fighting is 10-on-1, but only one guy can go at a time.
That's correct.
You can't.
The other ones are like,
once. Yeah. Dude,
I'm thinking about what to do.
Waiting for my moment.
It's like real life NES fighting games. Like if you took Double Dragon and made it into a real life movie, those are basically Steven Seagal movies.
It's kind of like watching a Royal Rumble, which the best part of a Royal Rumble is just seeing who comes in and kind of the end. But if Royal Rumble matches are never great, because when there's like 12 guys in there, there's a couple spots planned. But if you actually are watching it, there's like 6 of the guys are just looking around the ring, pretending to be in a hold.
Yeah, or they're like tired in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's watch this real quick, because one of my favorite Steven Seagal memes is how he runs.
Ooh, I've never seen a Steven Seagal running meme.
So it's better than his fighting.
I highly doubt that, but
his arms are always
what in the world? They're like shimmying.
Yeah. They like nobody's ever taught this guy how to run.
Literally doesn't know how to run.
His arm, like they go across his body, his arms. He doesn't even make like any kind of fist. Like, he does the wavy.
But what he
and I don't know why.
Now the best part about Steven Seagal is that he's not going to tell you, oh yeah, that's just kind of what I do. He's going to give you a calm, collected, total bullshit answer as to why that helps him run better than you. He'll be like, oh, well, it's actually using the airflow currents in a cyclic manner, which propels me for, oh my God, his hands were just open.
Dude, those footsteps. Oh yeah, dude.
Wow. Yeah. That's the best part is he finds zero humor in anything he does or has done. And that's why it's that much better too, is because he still thinks he's like the coolest guy on the planet and the most dangerous guy on the planet.
Never accepted the irony of him. Like, whereas Nicolas Cage has definitely accepted who he is.
Oh,
he is. Of like how silly his characters are and how ridiculous his movies are.
And what
now
is it?
I mean, he's beloved. Beloved.
Exactly. And what has it done? It's brought him back that Nicolas Cage now gets tons of jobs in silly movies, but he owns them and embraces them. And so that's turning into the skid. Nicolas Cage
also
has
been
completely
great
perfected
movies
it
too. Like sprinkled in all the crazy straight to Netflix movies. are movies like Pig. Awesome movie. If you ever
Is
seen
it
it, and
really?
Mandy. Yeah, Pig.
I have not seen
So
Mandy either.
he has a pig that helps him find truffles because he's a chef, and it gets kidnapped.
Because
This
that's a
pig.
real thing, right? Pigs
Yeah,
actually, like, they do use
can
pigs.
smell out like truffles. I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah. And then there's another movie called Mandy, and it's
that's
kind of like
that's
has a
horror, isn't
vibe
it?
of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in terms of like being a 70s and like some horror
Uh-huh.
kind of elements, but it's very like it's like very Black Sabbathy in terms of like the soundtrack and like very like trippy movie. You got to be in a kind of a mood to watch it, but it's definitely unique and good. So Pig and Mandy, I'll make those my recommendations for the week for Nicolas
Wow.
Cage movies. But it just dropped this week. Nicolas Cage. So one of my favorite games I played for the last 2 years. It's one I dip in and out of. Like I play it for a few months and then won't play it for like 6 months because that's the right pacing for that kind of game.
Uh-huh.
It's called Dead by Daylight, and all of a sudden it got announced Nicolas Cage is going to be a character in the game. We don't know doing what. We don't know if he's going to be a killer, a survivor, what role. Maybe he'll just be on the map somewhere, but it's just Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage. It's not like a character he played or anything. It's just
Mm-hmm.
as himself. That hasn't happened in the game ever. They've taken movie IP, like Freddy Krueger's in it, Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, but nobody is just themselves in real life in the game. But you can't forget. Then he's got the all-time trilogy of The Rock, Face Off, Con Air, which hands down,
Con
back
Air.
to back to back, the greatest three movies
That's
anybody's ever
true.
done. The greatest bad movies. I would put them on the Mount Rushmore. 3 of the 4 would be those movies.
Don't forget, he was MCU before MCU was MCU. Ghost Rider.
I know. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, he's got good ones in there.
Oh,
Leaving Las Vegas.
actually, he's a bridge guy because in next week he's got a little movie that he has coming out on the DC side of things. I mean, he plays, to my knowledge, a small role, but he gets to finally have his role as Superman in the Flash movie.
No way.
Now, did you ever hear about the story?
I've seen the picture.
The
Who was going to
pictures.
direct that?
It was Kevin Smith. That's
Okay.
what it was so weird. It was a Kevin
And he had
Smith
long
movie.
hair in the picture, right? Didn't he?
It was a Kevin Smith movie that took place in the 90s, and it was supposed to be Nicolas Cage as Superman. And so they put this in the Flash, which comes out next week. So we're finally, after like 25 plus years, we're going to get our Nicolas Cage.
Oh, and then Michael Keaton's Batman too, isn't he?
Yes, Michael Keaton is Batman.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Flash
Let's bring back
too.
the 90s.
Now, DC movies
It's
are
our time.
notoriously pretty rough around the edges, but I feel like I kind of need to see this. So, but yeah, a recent Nicolas Cage one. One of our friends showed us. One of our friends showed me was Color Out of Space. That's a real trippy, wonky kind of sci-fi movie that Nicolas Cage was in 2020. But he's also in the Dracula movie Renfield.
I'm pretty sure that's a H.P. Lovecraft book.
I believe you're right. Color Out of Space.
Let me look this up.
It would make sense judging by that movie. I mean, it's wild. It's about like just weird sci-fi stuff start happening to this family that lives kind of out in the boondocks.
Sweet.
But
I'll put it on the to watch list that I'll never get to.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's my would you rather.
Okay. Throw it at me.
All right. This one, I mean, because you can find whatever. You can go to there's like a subreddit, would you rather, and some of them are cheesy. Like, would you rather have like 10 arms for fingers or 10 fingers for arm or whatever, or 10 leg,
Great
this
example.
one is, I think, is thoughtful, provoking. Would you rather die in 20 years with no regrets or live to 100 with a lot of regrets? So that would give us another 60 years of life. So we get another 60 years, but we regret it, a lot of it, or we die at 60 with no regrets. That means we have another 20 full years. I think it's kind of tough. Because I don't know how you live a life without some kind of regrets.
Exactly. I don't like it because I have to overanalyze it, and I don't.
Yeah.
And here's the dumbest part is that I'm analyzing it and I'm like, that's impossible to live with no regrets. Meanwhile, you just talked about hands for fingers and I'm just like, yeah, but this one doesn't make sense, Matt.
Yeah.
60 years.
You want the 60 more?
Because
or you want to die at 60? What?
Whatever you feel. Oh yeah, actually, that's funny.
Yeah.
60 more years with regrets.
Okay.
It is what it is. regrets are part of it. I don't know what a no regret life would even feel like, but I don't care. Like,
Yeah. All right.
like,
You just want you want the reps.
yeah, like, I don't know. That's see, I can't even play in the spirit of that question because, yeah, I don't know what a no regret life is supposed to feel like. Is like, I need an elaboration of how does it make me feel for those 20 years? Am I enjoying it? Is this a
Well, I think
analysis
so.
at
Like
the
you've
end
done
of,
everything you've ever wanted to do.
ooh, see that? Well, but what does that
But
mean?
you couldn't. Yeah. So I guess you're right. Because, well, let's say if I live a life where I don't have any kids, I maybe would go the die at 60, but having no regrets. But it'd be hard to, like, if I ended up having kids in my 40s, I feel like it would be a regret to die at 60. It'd be kind of a, yeah, that'd be a bummer.
What a
Yeah.
paradox.
Yeah, I know.
Get it? See? So there is no correct version of the first one. So I win because I just get 60 more years.
But I could see in a way, I guess the 60 year, like dying in 20 years from now,
Uh-huh.
is kind of the single person's, like, just go all out, travel, like meet all kinds of people, have maybe want another love affair or two, fall deeply in lust with
Mhm.
a woman of my age for sure, and we both just take the potion and we turn 60.
Wow. Even planning the
Ketamine,
plot.
too much ketamine. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
yeah, and there's something, because I mean it's weird because like now, like I remember, my grandfather died when I was 14. He was
Mhm.
62. Um, and in a way, I mean everybody was sad. I mean it was the biggest loss I had experienced in my time. But in my brain then, it was still like, well, 62 is old, but it wasn't at all. Like 62 is not old, like at all. I don't, like when you're
Yeah.
a teenager, when you're,
Sure.
you think it
You
is.
don't you
But
don't
now, like
even
my dad is 62,
yeah,
and it's like,
you don't perceive it the same way, certainly. But yeah, I think we're in ninth grade. I vividly remember
yeah.
when that happens.
And so, because there's a lot of life to live after six, like my dad just this week. That's why I'm like we're recording early. It's because he bought a boat this week.
That's
we're gonna
awesome.
go
Like,
we're gonna go get it on the water. You can
so
just try it out. Yeah,
I I got your text and I'm like, my dad got a boat. And my instantly I'm like, oh, your dad rented a boat. Okay. And then
yeah,
I'm like, oh, you know what? I think this means that he bought a boat. I'm like,
yeah,
yo, and that is cool because like when like I can't wait to make like decisions like that. Like I'm very timid to make decisions like that, but that's awesome. Like buying a boat and being like, because did your I mean, I don't recall any time when we were growing up that you guys had a boat. Did your dad ever own a boat? Well, no, because your dad and mom had you guys pretty early,
yeah. So
pretty
if he had
young.
a boat, he maybe access as a kid to
Sure,
like a
but like,
little
yeah,
rowboat or something like
he
that.
as
Yeah,
an adult has never had a
yeah.
boat
No,
life.
and I think we've had like friends with canoes, or like when he's come to Austin, he and I
Mhm.
went on a canoe before and that kind
Okay.
of thing.
Is this
We've been
motor?
on the Maid of the Mist in
Is it
Niagara Falls, of course.
with your awesome colorful ponchos?
Yeah,
Have you?
but I think it stemmed from just like I think he's looking for like ways to enjoy being, where we are right now, and it's like that evolved. Especially like I think part of my fishing hype lately is inspiring it too, because it's not like a party boat or like a $40,000 bass boat or something
Sure.
crazy. It's basically a functional aluminum boat. It's got an outboard motor, a trolling motor. It's not like the fanciest thing, but it's gonna do what we want it to do, which is get on a lake, or we can. I mean, it's pretty lightweight. We can get it onto some rivers probably and just go fishing, that kind of thing. But yeah, we're gonna try it out. But you can still, again, this is a theme, but you can still have new experiences after 60. I guess I would probably lean more towards because how do you have a life of no? I mean, isn't living a life part of having regrets? Like, how do you learn from things
Exact.
without regrets?
Yeah.
What, you're right. This is stupid. I'm sorry for bringing this up.
No, you failed miserably, and that's okay because that's what this podcast is about. Is a lot of failures, and
Okay.
we'll edit that out. Just kidding. We haven't edited anything out yet.
Are
So
we gonna edit this out?
I said, are we gonna edit this out? I can't
Uh,
hear you. But yeah, I've always like that's why when people you know, that's your stereotypical social media bullshit of people being like, you know, blah blah, no regrets. And I'm like, shut up. I'm like, that means you haven't learned anything, or you're not sorry for anything you've done. You're not, like, that's pretty, if you're alleging that you have no regrets in life, that's pretty dumb.
It's usually lying, but then it's also, how do you not live a life with mistakes?
It doesn't,
Right.
and usually the people saying it, you look at and you're like, I can name 5 things I hate about you.
Yeah.
And if you had no regrets, I shouldn't have those 5 things. Like, you, like, even that could be a friend, and I'd be like, dude, there's so many things that I don't like about you, because that's just people. Like, to say that you have no regrets doesn't make any sense. Yeah, first, you're lying. There's no way you feel that way. And even if you did feel that way, it's like, I assure you, you haven't been nailing it. You haven't been crushing life day after day. You haven't been. Like, stop acting. And that's what we always have to tell each other, is that that's a big problem with social media, is that we all want to like, post only the phenomenal things about our lives. And it's like, but that's not what life looks like. And that's why a lot of people have a hard time dealing with social media, or need to, like, close it down, and myself included, is that, like, you can't look at these pictures and these posts and be like, wow, these people have it all figured out. They don't. They have crap days. They've made stupid decisions that they've had to pay for and everything. Like, this is, I'm glad that they're able to do also these good things, but we have to remember that not everyone's life is perfect, and people jack up stuff all the time. And that's why social media will be not will be, I'm sorry, that's silly. It has been the collapse of any logic and reason in our society. So thanks, Mark.
He's on fire.
That scared the ever living crap out of me. So
I get, I kind of have a divided take on this. So, like, what's your thought on, because we all, like, there's tons of videos posted of, like, the person recording themselves dancing in Walmart, or somebody filming them doing their video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's typically annoying, or it's like, just get out of the way, like, kind of thing. Like, what are you even doing? You know, like, you're just wasting time making videos, and you're in everybody's way, and you look like nothing around you matters, and you're just the main character in your own movie, kind of thing, which is generally how I feel. But I remember, like, part of me is empathetic to that person, whatever, whether or not they're actually a creator or trying to be. It's like, also, if they're not really hurting anybody, like, if they're just getting judged, like, who cares? Because I see a lot of hate for people that are making their TikTok dance videos in front of walls or in front of things, and they're just being annoying. And people are like, this is the downfall of society. And I'm like, yeah, well, when I was doing the Redondo thing, we would pretend we were chugging Windex in the in the grocery store. We just put blue Powerade in it, or we had a mall fountain race, or I danced in the library, played music, plugged a guitar into the library, and just was super annoying. And so part of me is like, I guess I can't have done that and then be really annoyed with people, because then I'm just, like, getting old. And maybe that's just part of it. You're like, just just be one of us unhappy people that are, like, walking around in the world. So I get divided amongst that. But ultimately, I think, just, if they're doing it, kind of don't overly impact somebody else's life. Like, don't intentionally be in the way or hurt somebody else. And I can get around it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
do you know what I'm talking? I mean,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah.
If what you're doing isn't in any way harming other people, go nuts. If, like, I don't know what I'll think of you. I think I'm thinking the same way you do, and that's like, I try not to let it bother me, because it's like, it doesn't matter that they're doing that. Like,
my immediate instinct, though, is it still bothers me.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
It's, like, annoying.
But if it's not bothering anyone, the problem is it doesn't stop there, and people play pranks and stuff, and I don't like that stuff. I don't think you have a right to, like, really, really prank out people and, like, cause concern. Like, there's some people that,
like, the ATM one,
dude,
the dude who was, like, getting robbed at the ATM.
Yeah, like,
they were, like, setting it up, and somebody actually, like, I think it was 2 buddies, like, one was pretending to rob somebody at the ATM, and someone who came up and beat the shit out of the dude who was robbing.
Good, because you're an idiot. Yeah. Like, you can't do that. There are repercussions. Like, dude, there was, like, people that, like, did, like, fake, like, Middle Eastern people like dressing up and like throwing a backpack somewhere in a crowd, like in public, and like filming it as like a joke. I'm like, if you get shot and killed, I literally will not give a shit. And actually, I'll probably high five the shooter. Like, you can't.
It's like the Darwin Awards.
You
Yeah.
can't just do whatever you want without repercussion. Like, you just can't. And that's what it's getting to. And that's, I think, the hostility is that it's not the small stuff. It's what it grows into, because people are addicted to, oh my God, people like that one video. What if we did this? What if we did this? Until it gets to the point where you're affecting other people. And then suddenly you have really bad ramifications from it. Like, yeah, it's Darwin Award stuff. Like, if you screw with people, be ready for people to answer back, and probably the way they're going to be answer back is physical violence. So just a heads up, because I don't know if you know this, but it's not 1995. Like, everything's not sunshine lollipops from when we were like growing up as kids, and people are pissed off in general. So like, if someone's having a bad day and you go and try playing a prank on them, you might regret that heavily. So that's why it's not, no, the individual stuff. If you want to dance like a jack off in Walmart, I mean, honestly, I use that term, but in reality, go nuts. I don't give a shit what you're doing. But as soon as you start making chaos and a worker, now their job is that much harder, then I hate you. Like, so it depends.
Like the drive-through shit or something like that.
Yeah,
or...
like you can't, you don't have that's actually the worst, is with people, when people screw with people who are working
on their jobs.
Yeah, I don't like that at all, because I'm like, you don't have a right to put them in a situation where they can't retaliate because it's their job and not yours. That's messed up. But at the same time, when they have minor jobs, I always tell them, I'm like, just take the punch, just take the shot. I'm like, you'll get another drive-through job. Just do what you got to do. Like, just do it. So
there was I like the one where the woman's about to sing from the driver's seat.
Okay.
And she's gonna sing like thank you to the person at the drive-through. She just starts singing. Pretty nice voice, but the person just shuts the window. Like, shuns it completely. Good. And it's like, no, I don't want to be a part of your video.
And that's the thing, right? It's like, nope, I don't want to be content. Like, I am content not being content. Whoa, weird. But yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome like reply to stay that cool-headed and be like, oh yeah, cool. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the most boring person you can imagine for this content. But there's a lot of people that want to be part of it. I don't know. I guess, and I don't want to be like, because a lot of that stuff, the hate for that kind of thing, comes from a place where I don't want to fall, which is, I think there's this, and I saw some of it when I came back to Auburn too, or I think it can be like a small town thing where like a lot of people haven't experienced a lot of things. So when somebody's doing something different, I mean, I remember from growing up, anybody who was different is like, what are you trying to be, a fancy pants? Like, you're trying to do something, you're trying to like get outside the mold here. We do things a certain way here. And if you're in any way trying to be happy or do something different, it's like you're trying to be better than people. I think there's this like kind of something inside that if somebody really recognized, and kind of that's what I was getting to, is like, if my gut reaction, if I want to judge this person for doing this thing, can they look silly doing it? It's like, am I projecting that, look at them doing something different that I wouldn't do? And why are they look at them trying to be happy? Look at them doing something they want to do, and me getting mad at it. It's like, there's a balance there where if I'm really honest with myself, I'm like, if they're not hurting anybody, or it's just them looking silly, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Because I did the exact same thing and I really had fun with it. And if later in my life, I'm looking at those people have fun and trying to be happy and do things like that.
See, like,
it's like, am I just being ornery?
And your Redondo thing, like you're saying how you annoyed people at the library, but in that essence, they're wrong. And I'll tell you why, because
woo, yeah.
So no, because it's not, I was having a conversation with someone for an hour and a half, tapping my pen at the library, being a nuisance. You guys plugged in amps, guitar, and bass and played music in a library. That's an event. That's an occurrence that didn't hurt anyone, but it should go beyond like, oh, I'm trying to study, to what is happening right now. And so that goes to a different level. You're not agitated. You're annoying them because they're trying to study, but they remember that event. If you didn't do that, Like they would have nothing, like they have that story. There's people you don't know that have that weird story that has been told over the years to other people of like, yeah, I was at college once and these two kids just started playing like guitar in the library when I was studying for a test. So like it's danger is a big problem and threat. And I don't think annoyance necessarily comes into that portion. So there's a difference of the stuff that I'm saying when it affects people. Security, threat, like if you're sparking the fight or flight response in someone, that's when I have a problem.
Well, I appreciate the validation. That's what I've come here for. And we're out.
That's what the podcast is all
done.
about. Yeah.
20 episodes it took to get validated for all of my life's choices. Yeah.
Finally, the validation of Redondo TV.
Woo! Woo!
But yeah,
I'm
you're
gonna start drinking again.
You're right.
I can move on. I've done it.
You're
I've
right
done it.
with it's funny you say it with like the not accepting difference, because yeah, I mean I think we both to some extent, felt kind of like outcasty even in the littlest amount, with being like, even just generic like band kids and stuff like that. And then like you go to college, and for at least me going to a state college, like you are exposed to so much world in such a little time, in like a flash of just insanity. And that took some adjusting to. But what's nice is that college definitely did push a different mindset on me of being like there's Auburn, New York is not reflective. The world is not just an extrapolated Auburn, New York. Like Auburn, New York is very, very tiny and centralized, and you don't have diversity. Like you guys know nothing about what the world is, because like meeting so many kids from downstate and kids of different backgrounds, and with me joining the fraternity and having kids who are first generation Americans, and who has one of our fraternity brothers had his father spent 8 months a year back in Hong Kong, and he grew up in like Long Island and went to school and like in the city. And I'm just like learning all of these things about people, and a kid from Jamaica, and like I'm just like, wow, I was really close-minded. But it's also not a quick fix. Like you work your way out of how you used to think, and it takes time to break that mold. And now you look back on it and you're like, man, like you can remember some of the thoughts and emotions you had when in certain events of when we were in high school. And I'm like, man, I was kind of a dumb piece of shit, like in some of these aspects.
Yeah,
like
I get that.
It is what it is. And you're glad you grew, but you're like, man, that's one of the things you say is like, imagine if you had the emotional and just general, not like book smarts, but like emotional intelligence and like situational intelligence. If you had that as like a kid in 9th grade and you got to go through high school again,
you never will.
You're like, dude, I would be king of the castle. I could literally do whatever I wanted to do. But it's just not how the human mind works. You're not developed.
That's classic. Like, yeah, if I could go back, if I knew then what I know now, it's like, yeah, sure, that's cheating life. that's
how
literally you end up with no regrets.
Yeah,
is just knowing everything right away.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still screw it up.
Yeah. And I don't mean it to sound like a bashing on Auburn, because there is a lot. I think coming back here has been like a study abroad too, and kind of learning about the values here too, relearning it and kind of appreciating it.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that it's some wild stat, like when I worked in study abroad, like in the United States, like some absurd number, like 80% of people never move more than like 30 miles from where they grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it happens everywhere where people don't seek out new experiences and viewpoints and other thoughts. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to put yourself in that position, but you kind of just like have to make yourself do. I mean, we have, but that's why I was, especially like the first 8 years of my professional life, I did like a lot of study abroad or like international education travel things, because it meant so much to me, even to go to Russia, which isn't, I mean, it's something completely different than like going from Auburn to New York City or something, but it made me be like, holy shit, there's like different people in the world that are different from me.
I bet you couldn't even process it really when it's happening. You're like, I literally feel like I'm in a dream, because nothing is similar to what I know. Everything I know the world as is not happening to me right now. And like, that's Yeah,
Oh, you
that's
can't. I mean, still couldn't handle it. Yeah, because I think I was
yeah.
20 when I went. I still couldn't process it, but it took a long time after. But I did know that I was like, okay, there's other things, there's other thoughts, and it's like it made me really kind of passionate about change, and it made me okay to change my mind. I think
Yeah.
that might have been the first moment where it's like my opinions might be changed from when I'm 18 to when I'm 20, and then keep changing over time when I'm 25.
Yeah, that's another thing is that, but that's another one that I hate when people are like, "Oh, people don't change." I'm like, "No, people do change. Like they're just not being exposed to the right stuff, or they're changing, and it's harder to tell how." Um, but like, and it doesn't take necessarily placing yourself in different countries. Like, it's not like, yeah, if you don't move, or if you haven't lived anywhere else, you just don't get it. But you have to. It's got to be harder. What's nice about moving and living somewhere else is that you throw yourself into, that's teaching yourself to swim by jumping off a boat and trying to get back to land, because you're just like, well, this is the situation I'm in. Like, so obviously travel helps, but just even engaging with people, like in Auburn, New York, you
Yeah.
can find out a lot about the world if you want to go out and talk to people about their
Yep.
experiences. So you can do it without traveling. It's
Yeah,
100%
that's true.
possible to do, but it's harder when you travel. You just go, all right, this is the world around me. Or like when you move, this is the world around me. I'm forced to learn right now.
Yeah. And even like, yeah, I would say even because my folks have lived in Auburn. I mean, well, not exactly their entire lives, but for the most part, their entire
Yeah, my
lives.
my dad has.
Um, but they've traveled like wherever I've lived, they've traveled. Um, but then, but their change in many ways is like I've seen them change, which is cool. I think it's kind of fun to like. Well, also I'm like cognizant of it now
Sure.
because like and appreciative of kind of what they went through. But then to have kids really young, but then they change now because we change, like their kids change. Like we go through a bunch of shit and then it forces them to like adapt to like having older children or kids that go through other things in their life or new experiences, and they have to change who they, or they have to change their perceptions or their understandings of different things, and they do, which is kind of cool. Like, 'cause I guess in a way, parents or people could be like not adapt to anything that's like once their kids are 18 be like, oh, that's it, I'm gonna kind of check out. I'm gonna check out on your life
On
or
like
what's going on.
on emotional investment into their kids' lives.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, I'm sure that happens to people where it's like,
Oh
well, you
yeah.
were my kid for this many years, and now that you're going through this, or you're changing, or who you are is
I think
changing, then
I'm
I'm
pretty
out.
I'm pretty sure that's the case with one of our close friends, Mike from high school. His dad certainly, I'm sure, was like, "You're out of my house. See you later, whoever you are."
Yeah, poor Mike.
Yeah, like to an extent, they
Uh,
they still have their relationship, but that was 100% Big Joe's attitude with stuff.
dude, there's one for he'll definitely like. We'll have to get him to catch up on this. He'll be in part of the Friends series for sure.
It's true.
Because I definitely haven't really. I don't even know if I ever saw him in. Well, that's why I came home from college a couple of times, but I barely connected with him at all.
Oh yeah,
At almost nothing. So
I'm still
that'd be
regularly
fun,
regularly talking with him.
dude. We'll have to do. What? We'll have a big Christmas spectacular Thanksgiving whenever you come to Auburn or something. We'll do like a
Oh,
live, like do it in the same room. See if we can
ooh,
grab some other people, kind of thing.
a a Thanksgiving
Big
spectacular would be interesting to
big
do.
holiday special.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
We'll
like it.
make it work.
I like it.
We're getting to the end. Let's tap into the three words: abundant, joy, and dorm. So I thought of the thing that came to my mind was sophomore year at Curtis Hall. I wasn't living in there. I actually got my own. See, the key in college is if you said you wanted to be in the sub free, what's it, substance free, or the clean dorm
Uh-huh.
or whatever. Like almost nobody did that. So you basically got your own room.
Oh,
So
really?
I like I don't know, I got a single room. I don't think I was supposed to or whatever, but nobody else was like, so I got my own like, oh, like sophomore year, if you want to do, they were like, oh, substance free dorm, it's going to be Stillman Hall. And then I was looking at it and there was like nobody signed up or something like that. And I was like, could I get a
Did you
single?
just shoot your shot?
They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got a single. And so because my buddy, freshman year roommate, he was going to be an RA at Curtis Hall. So I was like, wow, bold choice being the RA. But it's close. Basically, I hung out there all the time. So he was like actually really close to where my dorm was. So I'd go there. My memories of that were when PS2 came out. So it was a lot of GTA Vice City and Tony Hawk 2, number one. But then that was kind of where the room where Redondo TV was formed. So we would do a lot of our sketches in that dorm, including I remember rollerblading through the dorm, and it was like a montage with Walking on Sunshine, and then I
Oh
slammed into a
yeah.
Coke machine
Yep.
and shattered it. I remember that. And we would have like boxing glove fights or blow up boxing glove fights in like the study rooms and stuff like that. So just totally obnoxious. But there was, the most thing I remember most is I wasn't even there, but they were all freshmen, like his RA, whatever his people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool because they would come around. They would think that we were hot shit because we were sophomores. It's just the way of the world. It's just the way of the world at that time. It's just the way it works. But we were partying one night, so he went back to his room, and next morning I went over. I think he was still hungover, but I was just hearing stories from the freshmen in the dorm. Like, hey, you got to hear what Tozer did last night, and I was like, what? So he walked out. Oh, sorry, Tozer. I didn't mean to put your name out there. I can believe it.
No. It's fine. It's probably listen. We won't say his last name because
nobody could find
it could be one of the other guys named Tozer.
But I think he got up. He had one of those, and I've succumbed to this too sometimes, like the 3 a.m. drunk sleepwalk where you don't know what's going on,
Sure.
and somebody tells you the next day what happened. But he got up. He had to pee, so he walked out into the hallway butt naked. Oh, there's still like people up and around, and he just like walked into like the side of the hallway where he thought a toilet was, I guess, and just peed on the wall. And then he walked into his room, but it wasn't his room. He walked into somebody else's room where there's 2 kids sleeping. Opens their dresser drawer, and pees in that again, like it's a toilet. And then opens the top drawer, and then I think tries to sleep in it, get into bed in the top drawer, or gets on top of the dresser to sleep. And they had to wake up like, hey, get out of here. What are you doing in here? And then he gets up, grabs a basketball jersey, and it puts it on like he's wearing shorts, and carries him like basically wears it like underwear, and walks back to his room. Doesn't remember any of it at all. But peed twice. Yeah, it was just.
This is when he's an RA.
When he's an RA, as an
so
RA.
who do you report that to? Because aren't you supposed to confide in
nobody
the
said anything. No, he didn't. No, nobody said anything.
The kids didn't say
anything. It was
anything?
Cool. Nah, they were cool. These kids were cool as shit, man. They let you pee on their shit, and they didn't care.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that's cool. I'm pretty sure that's like
no, it wasn't.
Fear of retaliation.
Well, they were also, because we had started filming the show and stuff. So we had
they were big fans of the show.
Like,
they were
it was honestly, it was the cheesiest, lowest level of celebrity. So because they all were into it.
Oh
so it was
my
like,
Lord, that's kind of like
they didn't
sad
want to
and
be.
awkward.
Nobody wanted to be the narc.
Oh my God, that's really pathetic.
I don't think he got in trouble. I don't know, but outside of just the embarrassment of remembering it, but I would say that truly brought me abundant joy because I remembered it still to this day.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, in my terms, it's just the general living in the dorms, and probably specifically my freshman year. I did live in the freshman dorm, which was Riggs Hall at the year that I went to Oswego. And it was an L-shaped dorm with 3 floors. And so on one part of the L would be guys, other part of the L is girls. And so the dorm, I think we had like 30 guys probably around there on our part of the 3rd floor with 2 RAs. And just, it was really, I liked it because stemming from my, kind of my anxious concept of wanting to break out and, meet friends and stuff like that, but not feel weird about it, is that I knew everyone was in the same situation. Everyone is a freshman. So I don't have to feel weird about like looking cool in front of juniors and seniors, because that's definitely on my mind as an 18-year-old. So it was nice because I could be confident knowing that everyone in my dorm was in the same position. No one had ever been to college. Maybe you knew 1 or 2 people who happened to also go to college with you. I didn't have anyone from Auburn in my dorm. No, actually, that's incorrect. Another Jeff from Auburn was in our dorm. He was in our calc class, that Jeff. He wasn't on my floor though, but it was cool because like, I remember getting up and like the first day I sent my parents packing at like 9:30 a.m. Like, I'm like, you can go now. I'm in college. I'm like, thanks for driving me here, but you can leave. And I blasted music and I'm like, let's just see if people come into my room and see that as being inviting. So I played, I recall literally specifically on my computer speakers, I was blasting like Real Big Fish and Goldfinger. And I'm like,
you're really putting yourself out there.
oh yeah. Cause I'm like, all right, ska, let's go with ska punk and see who like comes into it. And so like people literally would stop by. Now, granted, one of the first people that was nice and stopped by, he's like, hey man, how you doing? I'm like, good. It's like, you got a weed guy? And I'm like, no, I don't. Dude. And he goes, you do now. He goes up, shakes my hand. He goes like, my name's Steve. You can call me Stoner Steve. I'm going to live right at the end of the hallway. He's like, and I'm from Potsdam. You know what they say? Potsdam good.
Shut up.
And I go,
how is this real?
I go, all right, Steve. See you, man. He's like, all right, I'll see you later, buddy. And yeah, Stoner Steve, literally, I've been in college for less than 3 hours, whatever time this happened, because it was still relatively early in the day, but I was in college for like less than 3 hours. And I have a guy offering me, be like, hello, if you will need marijuana, I am located conveniently at the end of your hallway whenever you need me. But like, I met friends and like, we literally became friends, like with a ton of like, a lot of the guys on our floor got together and hung out a lot. All different sorts of backgrounds and stuff. We had a couple guys that were huge into computers and they uploaded like Counter-Strike and Unreal Tournament onto everyone's computer. So a lot of times on like a Saturday, we'd all wake up, knock around on doors, like have about 10 to 15 of us go to brunch in the morning, come back, and we'd be like, yo, let's jump on Counter-Strike. And we would have these massive games of Counter-Strike and stuff. And like, yeah, that was also a part of like, you know, me really just feeling like I'm on vacation as opposed to college. And I certainly went the wrong way or went too far with it. But like, there's just a lot of like carefree memories. And I think that's important to hold on to. And so like, when you say abundance of joy, dude, we had like 10 or 12 guys that played in a Madden league, but we ran the league. One of our tech buddies created a leaderboard with removable plates for rankings, and we had a championship belt that he made.
Dude, that's awesome.
So we had the Madden belt that like you got to keep the belt on you, or like some people would wear it to the dining hall. You could keep it prominently showed in your room, but you had to defend your title. And like, so we're doing just weird stuff like that. Now, when I referenced an episode or two ago about like the close friends from freshman year, all of those guys were on third floor rigs. Like that's just where we met. Like, so it's kind of by just complete chance, but like, and in my freshman dorm between the fall semester and the spring semester, I think we had like 20 guys pledge the fraternity. So like so going through my pledge semester in the spring semester, that semester, there was just, I could literally trip and fall into a fraternity brother. And so like, there was always my fraternity brothers at hand. And so like, I have nothing but positive memories about that freshman dorm. Like it was such a good time and really helped me. You know, that was the big time of, obviously, like I said earlier, breaking out of my shell, understanding a lot of different backgrounds, being true to myself, but really starting to expand a lot about me, and being tolerant of people and really like embracing different stuff and not feeling like I'm held to some sort of weird standard that I probably somewhat manifested in my head as a kid. So yeah, man, the freshman year dorm was everything and more.
Plus the first experience of shared bathrooms.
Oh yeah, community bathrooms. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's weird. I've forgotten about that, but that was the thing. Like, you don't get to shower when you want to necessarily.
You could literally want to shower,
or you don't necessarily get to shit when you want to either.
I'm not poo shy. I'm gonna shit whenever I damn well please.
Oh, no, I mean it could be used though.
Used?
Yeah. Like
our bathrooms were pretty big because we had 30 guys. So I want to say 4 showers, and then there's like the awkward tub shower at the end. You're like, is this weird if I use
Yeah.
this? And then maybe like 4 stalls. So yeah, that's true.
Showered with sandals for a few years there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Weird.
Never don't want to touch that floor.
Weird thing when you're college shopping with your parents and they're like, don't forget to pick up sandals, and you're like, I'm confused.
Yeah. I don't know why that was like the grossest thing to imagine at one point. Your feet touching the I mean, it is. It's still gross to me actually. So, dope. Let's get the words for next week.
Okay. Sorry, we went a little over on time today.
Somebody's gonna be mad. Oh, you know what I should do is share the screen.
Yeah, cool. Drum roll, right, guys?
What double drum roll?
Hey, gang,
double drum roll.
Gang, if you're wondering what the words are, I also don't know.
All right. Walk. Honest. Pin.
Walk.
Honest. Pin. Weird.
I don't know what that. Yeah, I don't know what that's going to lead to.
I don't get it. Roll it again.
I have no feeling about this right now.
Cool, man. How's your Saturday shaking up?
Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do during the day. I've been avoiding mowing the lawn because it's been really bad weather. But we're supposed to get rain Monday, so my goal is to try to mow the lawn tomorrow. But I've been trying to be like, it doesn't matter what the aesthetics look like. The grass needs to be there to get whatever water there is. So I'm being a responsible adult. And this evening, though, got tickets to see the Spider-Man movie, Return to the Spider-Verse, the animated one. So yeah, excited to watch that. So I don't know beyond that.
Web it up.
Yeah.
Go into that theater and shoot your web.
All right. That we are talking.
Make a Saturday out of it.
You are talking about something else.
It's an